Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Game Changer. We are almost finishing all the groups. The World Cup is very close, just a few days to start. We are very excited for it, especially me that have been watching all the teams. Now I know a bit how they play, and I'm excited to see this kind of games in the World Cup with this previous analysis that we have done. No, so yeah, today we're going to talk about Group K with Portugal, with Colombia, with Uzbekistan, and with the Democratic Republic of Congo. We will start with Portugal. After that, we will move to Congo, and we will finish with Colombia and with Uzbekistan. No, for Portugal and Congo, Mo will be with us. He has been analyzing the teams. He knows them quite well. So yeah, we'll have also his analysis helping us. But let's move now.
Welcome to The Game Changer, a community built for people who want to understand football beyond the surface level. Here, we bring you closer to professional football through masterclasses, interviews, and team analysis. We break down tactical trends from around the world with clips covering collective aspects, individual aspects, and set pieces. We have also created the ideal space to connect, share ideas, and build synergies among members within our platform and weekly discussion group. Every week, you'll have access to matches in tactical camera view to keep elevating your football knowledge and discover a new way of understanding the game. Join the Game Changer today.
And talk about Portugal's team, one of the best squads in this World Cup. I don't think they had like a very strong qualification at all, at least in terms of style. Like they generate a bit of doubts on the way they play. We'll talk about it with Mo, but yeah, this is the main lineup that we expect under Roberto Martinez, the 52 years old coach, former coach of teams like Everton or Wigan, and former coach of the national team of Belgium. But yeah, on goal we'll have Diogo Costa, 26 years old, playing for Porto. The right centre back for sure will be Ruben Dias, the 29 years old, playing for Manchester City. And the left centre back, we expect probably Ignacio, the 24 years old, playing for Sporting Lisbon. Renato Veiga, the 22 years old, playing for Villarreal, the young centre back. The left centre back can also be an option in that position. In the left, we will probably see Nuno Mendes, the 23 years old, playing for PSG. And in the right, probably Joao Cancelo. I have a lot of doubts on that position. Later I will ask more also, but because Joao Cancelo has been playing also in the left, and actually probably his best position is left, like left fullback. But one of these problems you have now when you when you are a manager of a national team and you try to call your best players, that you have two world-class players playing in the same position. No? So then you need to try to adapt, no? And yeah, Mateus Nunes can also be an option here in the right side. Roberto Martinez, he also tried Joao Neves as a right back, but I don't think he will do it in the World Cup. And yeah, in the midfield we'll probably see Vitinha, 26 years old, playing for PSG, and Joao Neves alongside him, 21 years old. When I checked this morning, I was thinking, wow, we have been watching him already for a while during a few years, but he's still 21. The way he plays with only 21 years old, everyone talks about Vitinha, but Vitinha is 26. We're talking about Joao Neves, only 21 years old, already 2 Champions League, playing like a very experienced player. No, so we will see him also in this World Cup having an important role. In the left, Rafael Leao, the 26 years old, the Milan player, obviously a high quality player, but with some discipline issues. Yesterday he got a red card in the game against Chile. Bruno Fernandes, the number 10, will be the Manchester United player, 31 years old. In the right, we might see Bernardo Silva, the 31 years old, playing for City. We all know Bernardo can play in many positions, in the number 10, in the center midfielder position. Actually, yesterday, in the game against Chile, he played more as a center midfielder, but Joao Neves and Vitinha still not with the team. And then in front, Cristiano Ronaldo, 41 years old, Al Nassr. I was about to say, probably is his last World Cup, but you never know with Cristiano Ronaldo, and with his fitness level, he might get into one more World Cup. But yes, other options might be Pedro Neto, the Chelsea winger, the 26 years old, can play in the right wing, but also in the left. Conceição, the Juventus player, 23 years old, right winger. Joao Felix, the Al Nassr player now, 26 years old. He can play also in the number 10 position, second striker, but also winger, left winger mainly. The Gonzalo Ramos, the striker of PSG, who can also be an option in front. Semedo has been playing quite much under Roberto Martinez, the Fenerbahce 32 years old player. And Ruben Neves, obviously, Ruben Neves, that he's now in Al Hilal. He's only 29, so people maybe think he's 33 or 34, but no, Ruben Neves is still quite young. And he might be also playing. Out of the squad are Joao Palhinha and Mateus Fernandes. So yeah, Mo, you have been following the team. You know how they will probably play. I think it's quite clear that we might see this kind of 4-2-3-1. And I wanted to ask you about what you feel about the team and about the lineup. What other variations can Roberto Martinez try?
Yeah, I think this is the closest thing I think we're going to see from Martinez and his selection. As you said, maybe not Joao Cancelo, maybe Nunes from City will play at right back. Maybe Cancelo will play instead of Nuno Mendes. I know it's kind of difficult, but having Cancelo on the pitch will probably provide something that is kind of different from Mendes, and we'll see that later on. Midfield, I don't think it gets any better than Joao Neves and Vitinha. I mean, 2 times Champions League winners or successive Champions League winners in your team. Up front, I think now with Leao, I don't know if they are going to punish him or not, because it's a friendly game, but there's talk that he might get a ban of 1 game or 2 games. I don't know. It's not confirmed yet. So maybe we'll see Joao Felix start on the left, and that will also change the dynamics of their attack. Up front, I know that Cristiano Ronaldo is Cristiano Ronaldo, but there's also Ramos, who played a lot of games before yesterday. And I think that with him on the pitch, maybe he'll offer, people might kill me for this, but maybe having Ramos up front will provide more balance or better balance for Portugal's attack. And yeah, Bruno Fernandes, I have no words. As a Manchester United fans, having Bruno Fernandes in your team is simply a cheat code. And yeah, when it comes to squad depth, when it comes to the first starting 11, I think that Portugal have, like, on paper, one of the strongest teams in the tournament.
So yeah, this is a bit the ideas of Roberto Martinez, how they are going to play. They will use, like, the fullbacks quite a lot offensively, and we might see different things, like, as you say, the dynamics, for example, in the left side, if Rafael Leao is not playing, might be different, and we might see, for example, Nuno Mendes maybe more in the last line. I don't think it's his best role, this one, and I think he's important, for example, in the rest defense. But yeah, Cancelo brings something different, this creativity, but yeah, we might see him in the right. I don't know what he will do. He has been trying a lot of things, so yeah, we will see. But let's move forward and take a look at how Portugal will attack, because I think they will probably play when they are building up from the back in restart. They will probably play in this kind of 4-2-2-2. With Bruno Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo, more as a number 10, with Cristiano dropping deeper. We'll see later some images where Cristiano likes to drop deep, and then the 2 wide wingers. Especially, it makes more sense if you have players like Rafael Leao, or you have players like, for example, Conceição, in the right side. If you have players like Bernardo Silva, like Joao Felix, it makes less sense, because they are not these kind of players who can attack the space in behind, and then you are more predictable, And we'll see here another clip, with this kind of 4-2-2-2, again in the game against the United States, So this is very clear that is something that Roberto Martinez wants his team to do. And if we move to this image, we see the game against Armenia, and that's something that they will do a lot. Is we might see Vitinha, especially controlling the game from deeper zones between the center backs, no, and then the other midfielder, maybe Joao Neves, will be the one maybe providing more balance inside. That's something that he does already in PSG, that he tries to balance the team based also in Vitinha's movements, and Fabian Ruiz in PSG. And we can see a lot of Cancelo inside, no? Cancelo moving between the lines or moving to the half space. We can see it here. This is the game yesterday against Chile, no? And again, we can see, in this case, I think Samu Costa played as a center midfielder, so he's the one balancing the team. But then they split the two center backs, White, Ruben Diaz and Renato Veiga yesterday, and Bernardo Silva playing more in a Vitinha role, because Vitinha is still not there, but I think we will not see Bernardo there. We see Vitinha, and then we can see again Cancelo, no, moving a bit more inside, no. So yeah, what are your thoughts in the deep build up from Portugal, Mo?
So as you said, the structure will probably be like the 4-2-2-2 base from the build up. The idea, I think, is to create this box midfield with the striker dropping alongside Bruno and the two pivots. From there, like they can play direct passes, or most of the time, I think that Martinez would like to see some kind of automatisms there. So like direct pass from the center back into the pivot player and straight to the fullback to bypass the pressure. Also having this box midfield is to create central overloads, give the fullbacks diagonal passing insides, protect the team better behind the ball in case of transition. So rest defense is a huge plus from this structure. And yeah, with the striker dropping into midfield, this will create more questions to the opposition's backline. Do they follow him into midfield? Do they protect the space behind? Because the wingers who are still high and wide will be threatening the space behind with runs of the ball. And yeah, this structure or this idea will give short options for Portugal to play through, and also depth to threaten behind. The only downside, I think, would be if teams would decide to press man-to-man. So these automatisms that I mentioned, one example of, they will not be as effective. And that might force Portugal to go long more often than they would like. Yeah.
And yeah, you also mentioned in your analysis that I read this morning that they are not a very tall team, no? So they might struggle a bit if they have to play more long, right?
Yeah. Now, before everyone jumps on me, I know that João Neves is short, but he is great in the air.
Yeah,
he is absolutely great in the air, which is surprising. But with him and Vitinha alone in midfield, that could be a problem if Portugal go long one time after the other. Now they do have the legs to attack second balls and cover space. Bruno is tenacious. Ramos is great at tracking back. Vitinha and João Neves are great workers of the ball. But if they come up against a physical team in midfield, especially when it comes to aerial duels, I think there might be some issues there.
Yeah, they might lack a bit of physicality in these kind of situations, but yeah, obviously the players like Vitinha, like Bruno, like João Neves, they are more comfortable, no? If Portugal, they are able to build up, no? And yeah, what you say about the 4-2-2-2, it makes more sense if you have wide wingers that they can really attack the space in behind. So yeah, that's why I don't know if they will still keep the same structure if they play with players like Bernardo or Joao Felix, no? Because now with Rafael Leao, with these discipline issues, I don't know if we will see Conceição in the right. I mean, obviously Portugal has options, but if you want to stick to some of these ideas, you will have to sacrifice someone, no? And it will be difficult to sacrifice Bernardo, or maybe sacrifice Joao Neves, or sacrifice Bruno. Obviously, will be almost impossible, no? So yeah, same for the fullbacks, no? That maybe someone needs to sacrifice, like Mateus Nunes or Cancelo, or I don't think Nuno Mendes, but we will see. And yeah, one of the reasons for putting Cancelo inside is also opening this passing line for Rafael Leao. No, that is obviously a player that he's good at when he stays isolated in the wing, no, and you can play him, and then he can do his thing, no, the 1v1 with more larger spaces. I think he's very good on that, and this is something that Portugal will do. No, we can see here again in the game against Armenia that Cancelo moves inside and opens this passing line. No, I think something we might see, and we can see it in this clip. Obviously, in this game they are very, very dominant and they are much better than Armenia. But if we see both fullbacks staying up, no, and the rest defense will be a 2+2, a 3+1. Well, I don't think we will see this approach always against like big teams, because this can be very dangerous in transition. And I don't think you either have like the faster center backs in the world if you play, for example, with Ruben Diaz or, for example, a player like also Vitinha, no, for this kind of rest defense. No, so that's an issue that they should consider it. And we were talking also that in your analysis that it depends a lot the way they will attack on the profiles they play, no? So the fullbacks will be important, and if we see Mateus Nunes, we might see something. If we see Cancelo in the left, we will see something different. If they play with Nuno Mendes, and not only the fullbacks, also the wingers, no? If we see Joao Felix, as we can see in this image, Joao Felix will be more like as a left inside winger, no? And Conceição will be giving the width.
Yeah, so especially in the final third, I think the dynamics are based on the players on the pitch. So Martinez will look to use these players to their strengths. For example, in this screenshot that we have on here, Nunes was attacking the right half space while Mendes stretched the width. Also, Conceição was holding the width on the right, and Joao Felix was just roaming inside the block. So there are reoccurring themes in this Portugal side. So, for example, maximum width. You always see two players trying to hold the width on both ends of the pitch, but it depends on who's on the pitch. So if it's Leao, you will find him holding the width on the left. If he's not on the pitch, then Mendes will push higher up the pitch to hold the width. And having this concept, for example, is good against low block teams to stretch them and open those gaps between, let's say, center back and left back, or left wing back. And yeah, the dynamics are, in my opinion, especially in the final third, are always there to prioritize players occupying their best areas and playing basically their game. So it's not, let's say, as rigid as their deep build-up structure. There are no automatisms here. Just, I think that players are being put in situations that bring the best out of them.
Yeah, I like this idea, no, that some of the players when they are attacking, and you have like a lot of quality with Bruno, with Joao Felix, obviously, and players like Nuno Mendes, like even Conceição, Bernardo Silva, like you have quality enough, no, and these kind of players, they are also very mobile. They like to occupy different zones. But yeah, if you have a player like Rafael Leao, is better isolated in the left wing and let him alone himself, no, and yeah, we can see here in the game yesterday against Chile, no, that Cristiano likes to drop deep a lot and participate. I was a bit surprised when I saw that during the game, but he's doing that. Rafael Leao, we can see already, as you mentioned, more holding the width in the left, and then Bruno also coming to wide areas, and we might see these kind of combinations. And man, all these players are great, like Bernardo, Cancelo, Bruno, Leao, Ronaldo, and from here they can come very good combinations, especially I would say from this left side, no? So yeah, these are a bit the attacking ideas of Portugal. Now we move to the defensive side. Let's move now and take a look about their defensive structure. We can see here in this picture against Mexico from the tactical camera that probably the 4-2-3-1, but that can move into a 4-3-3 like we see here, because Mexico play with two center midfielders. So yeah, I think I'm not sure if this is no, it's not Cristiano because he didn't play that game, but yeah, the center forward, maybe Gonzalo Ramos, pressing the goalkeeper. But then when the ball moves to the side, then they become a bit more man oriented, no, as we can see here, no, with Nuno Mendes stepping out of position and going to press to the wing back in this case, because Mexico plays kind of a wing back, I would say. This is Alvarado. And then we can see in this case Joao Felix, the left winger, pressing the right back, no? And they try to be more aggressive when the ball is played to the side, no? I was watching them this morning against Chile, no? And yeah, I see this kind of 4-2-3-1. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the way they defend, to be honest, the way they press at least. And we can see in this image, no? The two center backs and the goalkeeper with Cristiano, and then Bruno Fernandes has two players there. So yeah, you might be outplaying these kind of situations if the opposition team is good. Maybe they are doing that because they don't really need to apply a lot of pressure to Chile, because they think they can get the ball back by just keeping the +1 in the back and being more conservative in their press. But yeah, to make this kind of pressing, you need especially the striker to press very, very aggressively. We'll see if Cristiano Ronaldo will do that. And then with I think they are very lucky. They have also Bernardo, who is a very intelligent player who can press more than 1-2 players and who can fix by his energy and by his intelligence some problems that Portugal might have in the press.
So yeah, they do press in this hybrid fashion where they start zonally and then try to force the teams into one side of the pitch before they go man-to-man. And as you said, the striker needs to be aggressive. This will also mean that players will have dual roles. For example, Bruno covering those two central players, which could be risky because you simply can't be switched on 90 minutes tracking two players or pressing more than one player. Also, one more thing is the fullbacks need to be spot on. So once the ball is switched to one side and Portugal tries to go man-to-man, the fullbacks will need to cover that distance and jump from the defensive line to apply pressure. Yeah, like this with Nuno Mendes jumping the Mexican left wing back or right wing back. Here some issues might arise where the opponents can bring their fullbacks deeper, which will increase the distance for the Portugal fullbacks and will give time on the ball for these fullbacks to play or find passes inside or in behind. So yeah, the fullbacks, not just profile-wise, but even if you have two players like Nuno Mendes and Semedo as fullbacks who are quick and athletic, if the opponents adjust, they can take advantage of this approach.
Yeah, I think if you, as you say, if you have very athletic fullbacks, and obviously Portugal have it, at least with Nuno Mendes, with Joao Cancelo a bit less, but yeah, I think Semedo can also do the role that if they try to press more aggressive, no, they can step with the fullbacks and yeah, I'm not a big fan on the way they press. I think they are quite easy to manipulate, to be honest, and against the big sides they might struggle, no, but we will see. They obviously have intelligent players in the field like Bruno, like Bernardo, who can really fix this kind of situations, no? But if we take a look in this example against Portugal, as you already mentioned, when the ball is played to the side, they are trying to be more man-oriented, and we can see it in this example. But then they are aggressive with the center backs, and we can see here leaving the 1v1 with the striker and the left center back. This is another example from this same sequence where Mexico is able to find the striker, Raúl Jiménez, to link up play and then attack the space in behind. Mexico has not a lot of athleticism to attack in behind. That's one of their issues, actually. They have good midfielders, but they struggle on this. But they still created some problems to Portugal in this kind of situation, because this is like something very common, no? That the Portugal centre backs, they are quite aggressive. They like to step out of position, and yeah, we can see in this image that it's not a big problem, and the situation is good, but they still do it in other situations where they allow the opposition to find 1v1 against their center backs. And yeah, I'm not sure if, for example, a center back like Ignacio or Renato Veiga, they are that dominant, no, in this kind of 1v1 situations into the space.
Yeah, so whether it's high pressing or defending a mid block, I think that Martinez wants his center backs to be proactive, to be aggressive, to constantly jump on the free man and put pressure to push teams backwards. Now, this is positive. This is good, especially when there are no runners, close proximity to attack the space that you leave as a center back. And by being this aggressive, if the opponents receive the ball in midfield, you can't let them easily turn and face your goal and drive at you. You'll immediately push them back. But there's also the issue of, I think that Portugal's center backs are not that quick. The majority of them. Maybe Vega is a bit explosive or maybe a bit quick when jumping, but he's too aggressive. He can be reckless sometimes. And so when teams try to bait these jumps and force the center backs to leave their lines, I think they can target these gaps between defenders over the last line, whether it's a through ball or a long ball. I think this can be an issue for Portugal.
Time now to talk about Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo under Sébastien Desabre, the 49 years old, the French coach appointed in 2022 with experience in African football. And yeah, during the qualification, they beat teams like Cameroon, like Nigeria, and in the last playoff against Jamaica, no? But Cameroon and Nigeria, they are two big national teams in Africa that they won't be in this World Cup because Congo beat them. No, so yeah, they will not be an easy team. Many of the players they are playing in good leagues, like even some of them in Premier League, in La Liga, in Ligue 1, in France. So they will be a difficult team to beat. We'll see also that they are not conceding so many goals. And they will be a very reactive team. They will probably sit deeper and give the ball to the opposition, but they will still be a good team. Let's talk about their lineup with Lionel Passy, the experienced goalkeeper, 31 years old, playing in Le Havre in France. They also have another young option in the bench, Epolo, 21 years old, playing in Standard Liège, like a promising goalkeeper. The three center backs, they will probably be Capuadi, the left center back, 28 years old, playing in Witzel Low in Poland. Tuanzebe, the Burnley player playing in Premier League, 28 years old, who didn't have Burnley. We know that they relegated to Championship, but yeah, Tuanzebe will be in this World Cup, being an important player for Congo. Mbemba, the captain, the 31 years old, playing for Lille in Ligue 1. In the right, I think we'll see Wan-Bissaka, the West Ham player, former Manchester United, 28 years old, playing as a wingback. In the left, Masuaku, the 32 years old, who was playing in Sunderland but got loaned to Lens in Ligue 1. And then the three midfielders, Sadiki, the 21 years old player that they got, Sunderland got him from Belgium, I think from Union Saint-Gilloise, if I don't remember wrong, 21 years old, like a very short profile, but he has been playing very good in the Premier League, one of the sensations this year. And probably will be the number 6. Mukau will be the advanced midfielder, 21 years old, playing for Lille, a young promising player, and Kayembe, the 28 years old, playing for Watford. And the two strikers, Fisa, the 29 years old, playing for Newcastle, former Brentford striker, that they make this incredible duo with Mbeumo. That after that season, they moved both, one to Manchester United, the other one to Newcastle. He hasn't been playing so much with Newcastle, so he but we still expect him to do a good World Cup. He would like to show that he's still a good player. And then Bakambu, the 35 years old, playing for Real Betis, that he actually didn't have a good season in La Liga. He was not playing so much. Cucho Hernandez was playing in front of him, and yeah, we will probably see these two strikers, but Wissa more dropping a bit more deeper into midfield, and Bakambu being more like a striker in the last line. No other options. Charles Pickle, the 29 years old Spanish player in La Liga, can play as a midfielder. Mbuku, the Montpellier left winger, 24 years old. Brian Chipenga, a player I know well, who plays in Castellón in La Liga 2, 28 years old, who has been scoring a lot of goals with Castellón this season and being one of their most important players. Castellón is playing for the promotion into La Liga. Theo Bongonda, the former Rayo Vallecano player, also we saw him playing in La Liga. Now he's in Spartak Moscow, right winger. And Simon Banza, the center forward, 29 years old, playing for Al Jahra. And one player who will be out will be Willy Camboala, the Villarreal center back, that he hasn't been playing so much. So yeah, this will take him out of the World Cup, no? And yeah, the Democratic Republic of Congo, that has been having some issues in terms of Ebola, no, that is hitting the country. We hope everyone is safe and well, and they will be able to give some joy to their citizens. But yeah, this is mainly the idea of Sebastián de Sabre. It's true that they have been trying to play different systems. Now Mo will tell us, but yeah, maybe it's because some of their wingers, they are not at their best level, or he thinks that maybe it's better to try to use more midfielders, because they have good midfielders like Sadiki, like Kayembe, like Mukau, for example. Or this might be a more reactive approach against the better teams, no? For example, against Portugal or against Colombia, but maybe against Uzbekistan, they might try to play in a more offensive system, no? So yeah, Mo, what are your thoughts on Congo?
Yeah, exactly this. I think that against teams that are better, like Portugal, Colombia in the group stage, they will play with three at the back. I think so. They'll add an extra defender and an extra midfielder to clog central areas and stay compact, and, as you say, play reactively to deny opponents. Against Uzbekistan, maybe we'll see them play in a 4-2-3-1 like they did in their last qualifier against Jamaica. Players like Bongonda, Elia, two quick wingers could be added with Sadiki, the Sunderland player, and maybe Mutusami, who's another midfielder, another good midfielder, joining in. But yeah, the main players will be Wan-Bissaka, Twanzebe, Bakambu, and Wissa. Maybe also Banza, who I think might play a good role of the bench.
Yeah, something important, especially when you play this 5-3-2, is that you need your three midfielders to cover a lot of ground, no? And I think that these kind of players, they can do it. They are players that they can, even though they are maybe not as physical. For example, Sadiki is a very short player, no, 1.65 m actually, but he's a player who can cover a lot of ground, no? So then, if you have this kind of profiles, a 5-3-2 is much more easy to use it, no? Because the three midfielders, they need to run a lot. And if we take a look at the offensive intention, this is the game they played against Denmark. I think it was yesterday, or no, a couple of days ago. But yeah, we can see here the intentions, the three center backs, using the goalkeeper here in the as a right center back. This is a structure that Mufadal likes a lot, the 4-2-5. No, kind of, with the one DM, one of the advanced midfielders dropping deeper, the other AM, and then Wissa, the center forward, dropping in to create this box kind of inside, with the wing backs wide and a bit high, and then we will see Bakambu. We cannot see Bakambu here in the image, and the right wing back, but they are there also, no? So yeah, this can be an idea, basically, no, that they might try to overload also the center with the ball, with Wissa dropping deeper, no? But I think they will lack a bit of depth, you know, to attack, and they are not a very, I would say, like a very special team with the ball. They will not be dominant, and we can see it in these clips that they will look more for direct balls to their strikers, to their wing backs, to try to look this kind of the pace they have in front, the athleticism, even though if they play with wingers also. And we can see here something that they have done against Jamaica is that they use Wan-Bissaka in the right half space to attack the half space and try to create this kind of overload in this area. So yeah, you were telling me before we were recording that they are not a very dominant side with the ball, and that they will probably look more direct, no? And they are not comfortable when they have the ball.
Yeah, so I think they'll approach this tournament as underdogs, which is completely normal. So we'll probably see them or see their approach based on compact defending, direct attacks, transition threat, constant runs behind, physical duels, and second ball situations. And the good thing for them is that this is not a forced style. They will not play this way because they have to play this way, but more because the squad suits that style. They have fast wingers, they have strong forwards, they have quick midfielders that are capable of covering ground. So I think they will enjoy playing this way. But it can be a bit too much sometimes, maybe. For example, like in this picture on the screen here, there were some kind of rotations against Jamaica, and you can see Wan-Bissaka and a bit like invert a little bit into the half space. The left winger also going narrow, but this central overload was not created with the intention to play centrally to keep it short. Instead, it was created to provide this space for the left back to attack and play that switch, but also to have more runners inside, like Bissaka, like the left winger. And yeah, with the striker pinning the defenders, which is Bakambu, who will do that role. Wissa will be roaming around to pick up second balls. And I think that will be the main idea behind this Democratic Republic Congo team.
So we can see it here in this example, like the DM is between the center backs, the left winger is inside. We can see Visa between the lines, no, in this number 10 position, as you mentioned, like roaming a bit around, and then the other midfielder, no, and the right back there. It's kind of a 3-4-3, I would say, here with the left back pushing high, no. But yeah, we might not see a lot of this, and yeah, it was also interesting to see Jamaica giving the ball to Congo, and Congo being a bit, didn't know like so much what to do with the ball.
Well, Jamaica was happy to give them the ball, and even then, like Congo were looking to play 2, 3, 4 passes maximum and then go long, because they simply didn't look comfortable having all that position and having all that territory.
So yeah, they will not be a very dangerous team offensively, maybe, but if we take a look at defensively, I think this is quite funny. I was taking a look at Wisecout at their results, and we can see here that they concede very little. If we look, for example, Denmark, Congo 0-0, Congo, Jamaica, they beat Jamaica without conceding a goal. Again, against Algeria, they conceded only 1 goal. Against Botswana, they didn't concede. Against Senegal, conceded 1 goal. Against Benin, they didn't concede. Against Nigeria, only 1 goal. Against Cameroon, they didn't concede. Against Sudan, they didn't concede. Against Togo, they didn't concede. So yeah, they are a team that they keep clean sheet a lot of times. We can see the results, no? 0-1, 1-0, 0-1, 1-1. So they will be this kind of team that they will be difficult to beat. You might not expect so much from them offensively, but yeah, that's the idea that his coach is looking for. And yeah, we can see here the 5-3-2, no? That this is a formation that they will probably use during the tournament defensively. I'm not sure if against Uzbekistan they will also use this formation, but at least against Colombia, I'm quite sure they will play this 5-3-2. And for example, this was the game against Jamaica, and this picture is the game against Denmark. No, we can see here again the 5-3-2. No, so yeah, Mo, your thoughts are that they will play this 5-3-2, especially against the bigger teams, right?
Yeah. I think that to give themselves the best possible chance against teams like Portugal and maybe to a lesser extent Colombia, they'll need to have that extra body at the back line. They'll need to have that extra midfield and midfield. And I think that against Jamaica, I've seen them play not in a lot of different structures, but they shifted from one structure to another. So they defended from a 4-2-3-1 base and then shifted into a 5-3-2 with a right winger dropping into the back line. So yeah, the back five was not always formed with the same way. You can find the right winger dropping back. You can find one of the midfielders drop between the center backs to add that extra players. And yeah, the idea was always the same: protect the last line, stay compact, limit space between units, make central access difficult, which is the most logical thing to do against more dominant teams. And yeah, I think that will be their approach. I don't think they will press high. Maybe from goal kicks they will do, but mid block to low block will be the main idea with a back five.
Time now to talk about Uzbekistan. It's the first time that they are in a World Cup under Fabio Cannavaro, the legend, the center back, the Italian center back, appointed in October 2025 in substitution of Capazze, who is now assistant coach there for the national team and who was the coach that classified Uzbekistan for the first time to a World Cup. And yeah, many of their players, they are mainly playing in leagues like Iran or in the local league in Uzbekistan. But yeah, there are a couple of players playing in Turkey, and obviously Kusanov, who is the big star of this team, playing in Manchester City. So yeah, let's start with the lineup. Nematov on goal, playing 25 years old, playing in Nasaf Karshi. The three center back, they will play a clear 3-4-3 when they have the ball, but a 5-4-1, the typical 5-4-1 when they are defending, which is a system that for underdogs team it's great. I think like they will play with natural footed wing backs, and they will be a very compact block. We'll see later. They're well organized in defense, and yeah, they will play with three center backs probably. Ashurmatov in the left, the 29 years old playing in Esteghlal. Abdullah F in the middle, 28 years old playing in Diva, and then obviously Kusanov, the 22 years old playing in Manchester City. In the wingback position, we will see two players that they are playing in Pakhtakor Tashkent, which is the best club in Uzbekistan, or at least they are in the top of the league. In the right, we'll have Alizonov, 29 years old, and in the left will be Nasrullah F, 27 years old. The two center midfielders will be Kamrobekov, playing for Traktor FC in Iran, and Shukurov, 29 years old, playing for FC Baniyas. I think hopefully I'm pronouncing all the names right and the teams, but it's not easy. And yeah, in the front three, we'll have in the right winger position Fazulaev, who is a very young, promising player from Başakşehir in Turkey, 22 years old. And in the other side, we'll have Uronov, the 25 years old, playing for Persepolis, who is actually a good player. When I was watching some of the clips, we will see later one goal he scored, but can be one of these players that is less known for the public, that he can do a great World Cup. And in front, the captain Shomurodov, the Başakşehir player, also 30 years old, which probably will have a good understanding with Fazulaev because they both play in the same team. Other options, Mosgoyov, the 27 years old, playing also in Pakhtakor Tashkent. Aziz Ganiev, who actually usually is starting in the right winger position in front of Fazulaev, but he was injured in the last friendly game where they lost 2-0 against Canada. So yeah, I'm not sure what is the injury, but Faizullaev might be playing in front of him. And then in the striker position, we have Igor Sergeyev, 33 years old, playing for Persepolis. So yeah, as a substitution for Shomurodov, the center forward. And yeah, we see how they have a lot of players from playing in the Iran league. So yeah, if we talk about them with the ball, we can see quite clear here the three center backs, the wing backs pushing high into the last line, and then the front three that we'll see that they are quite dynamic, and then the two midfielders. We'll see some clips about their build up now. We can see here already how one of the center backs, the middle center back, moves and push higher. We can see here, and I think one of the advanced midfielders drops to receive the ball. We can see it here. Again, in this case, I think it's Urunov dropping. Take a look at this in the left side, where Urunov, the left winger in this case, is dropping to receive, and then the wing back is running to the space, no? And they look for this long ball to the wing back. Take a look and try to win this ball here. And from there, they start to play. Another example here of build-up. So we can see again here how already in this case the center back is already in the next line. We can see how when one of the center backs push alongside one of the midfielders, the other center midfielder then push higher, no, and they play kind of a 4-2-3-1. We can say like this. In this case, the one pushing higher is Shukurov. No, we can see it here next to the referee. No, and then the players next to him in the right side and in the left side, they are the two advanced midfielders. And we can see here how the striker Shomurodov drops deep also to receive the ball from the center back. We can see here lay off, finding Uronov in the pocket, and then putting the wing backs to run, that they are, in this case, Nasrullaev, that they are natural footed. No, in this case, Nasrullaev is left footed. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense what they do. I mean, the 5-4-1, the natural footed wing backs, Uronov, you can see here the quality he has. We can watch now the 1-2 he plays. He's right footed, as we can see here. And yeah, he's a great player. Also, they have the young player Faizullaev, who also has quality in the right, and yeah, we will see a lot of common sense from Uzbekistan. With the 5-4-1 low block, they will be very difficult to break through, and they will be also dangerous in transition, in counter-attack. We'll see now a clip where they recover the ball. You can see here the back line, the 5 back line, very clear. And see here how they are able to counter-attack, and they almost score from that. Again, Shomurodov dropping and laying it off for the wing back. Nasrullaev playing for Uronov. Uronov carrying the ball forward. And clear chance for Shomurodov that they almost scored. I'm not sure if that was Uronov. Maybe it was second half, so they changed, but yeah. And here now we are going to see a goal of Uronov, the Persepolis player. They play long. Again, we can see very clear here the 5-2-3 against Egypt. They win the duel here. Shomurodov again dropping and linking up and putting Uronov to run in behind. You can see here layoff, and Uronov runs in behind and then has the quality also to finish. So yeah, I think, as I say, Uronov is a good player, an interesting one. Going to see now another clip. No, sorry, this one was defensive. We'll see later. So let's move now about their defensive ideas. We can see it here, a very compact 5-4-1 with the wingers doing a good job, like closing inside. So they leave this space out wide next to the wingers, and if the ball goes there, obviously the wing backs will start to press. And this is a very common concept from Italian coaches, mainly this defensive diagonal. No, that instead of being in the same horizontal line, we can see this that. In the line of the winger, we can see behind in a diagonal, a few meters behind one of the midfielders, then a few meters more behind another center midfielder, and then the winger, the opposite winger, stays higher. No, we can see another example here. No, the same with the 11, 7, 9, and then the 10 higher. No, on this the idea is to avoid that they switch play. No, and we can see that Shomurodov in this role, he will be a bit less like without really pressing a lot or just being ready for the defensive transition. But yeah, they have enough numbers behind with the 5+4. We're going to see here how also when they are defending the box, they are a great team, a well organized, and we can see in this image that if they don't have to put the wide center back out of position, they will keep it in the box. We see also the two midfielders very disciplined there in front of the defensive line, and we can see here how actually Egypt has 3 players inside the box, and Uzbekistan has 6. No, and yeah, so they are used to defend this kind of situations. They have been getting ready for this kind of context that they will probably face especially against teams like Portugal. And probably Colombia, no? But against Congo will be interesting because both teams, they are more comfortable defending in a lower block. Congo with the 5-3-2, but Uzbekistan with the 5-4-1. So I'm not really sure who will have more the ball. But yeah, this will be a bit the plan, and then now we will see an example of the center backs being very aggressive when it's time to press. And being able to take the ball, and then take a look at the right wing back in the right side of the image. Again and again, we can see here the idea of Shomurodov also dropping deep to receive. He likes to link up play. So yeah, these are the ideas and the intentions of Fabio Cannavaro, the Italian coach that will be leading Uzbekistan into their first World Cup appearance. It's time now to go to South America to talk about Colombia, another South American national team that looks good for this World Cup, with some world-class players like Luis Diaz, like James Rodriguez, like Luis Suarez, the striker, Richard Rios, or players like Daniel Muñoz. It will be a really interesting one to watch. They had great games. For example, I remember one game I watched against Mexico where they beat them 0-4. They will be a team that they are very dangerous on transitions. And yeah, probably they will play this 4-2-3-1 also to accommodate James Rodriguez. I'm not a big fan of the way they defend, but obviously attacking wise, they will be a very dangerous team. Especially in offensive transitions, we'll see it later. But yeah, I think honestly, like if I look at this squad, I think that a 3-2-4-1 also fits them a lot, no? With wingbacks, like for example Mojica and Daniel Muñoz, they are used to play wingback position with their clubs. And yeah, I think that they can add one more center. For example, Dita had a great season in Cruz Azul. They also have the option of Yerry Mina alongside John Lucumí or Davinson Sanchez. And yeah, this accommodates, for example, James Rodriguez into the right half space, where I think he can do good. And yeah, maybe then you need to sacrifice John Arias, which is a player I also like. So yeah, I think that, but both, I will use probably both variations, the 4-2-3-1 and the 3-2-4-1, no, with wingbacks. But yeah, Nestor Lozano has been using mainly the 4-2-3-1. So I think this is the lineup they will play, no, with Camilo Vargas at goal, the 37 years old, playing in Atlas in Mexico. The two fullbacks will be Mojica in the left, the 33 years old, playing for Mallorca in La Liga. Actually, Mallorca got relegated to La Liga 2, so I'm not sure what will happen with Mojica. Then in the right, Daniel Muñoz, the Crystal Palace player, 29 years old. The two centre-backs, Davinson Sanchez, 29 years old, playing for Galatasaray. John Lukumi, the 27 years old, playing for Bologna. I remember him when I watched Thiago Motta's Bologna a lot, and he was doing very good, left-footed player. The two midfielder, Richard Rios, 25 years old, playing for Benfica, very aggressive midfielder, strong in duels, but also with quality to play. Lerma also, he can cover a lot of ground, the Crystal Palace player. I think that Richard Rios and Lerma are very, very important for this team. Later, when we talk about the defensive setup, we will explain why. Then John Arias in the right side, the Palmeiras player, 28 years old. James Rodriguez, 24 years old, playing in Minnesota United in the MLS. Luis Diaz in the left side, the 29 years old, playing for Bayern Munich. And in the striker position, Luis Suarez, 28 years old, playing for Sporting Portugal. So this will be probably the lineup they will use with this formation, 4-2-3-1. Other options, Santiago Arias, the veteran right back, former Atlético de Madrid, PSV Eindhoven, for example, now playing in Independiente, 34 years old. Yerry Mina, the Cagliari centre back, former Barcelona player, 31 years old. And Willer Dita, the centre back of Cruz Azul, who just finished champion in the Mexican League. And then the two center midfielders, one is Gustavo Puerta, is a center midfielder I like a lot from Racing de Santander in La Liga 2, that they just promoted to La Liga. Only 22 years old. Then Kevin Castaño, 25 years old, playing for River Plate, also as a center midfielder. Jorge Carrascal, the advanced midfielder from Flamengo, 28 years old. John Córdoba, the center forward, 33 years old, playing in Krasnodar. And El Cucho Hernández, playing in Betis, the 27 years old center forward, who will be playing against Bakambu from Democratic Republic of Congo, which are the two strikers of Real Betis that they will face each other in this group stage. And then some players that they are out, Rafael Borré, Yerson Mosquera, or Cabal, Juventus player. So yeah, mainly this will be the lineup for Nestor Lozano and the intentions. Let's start to talk about their offensive ideas. We can see here that if there's one player who has a little bit more freedom than the rest, this one is James Rodriguez to come deeper, to organize play from there. We can see it here in this image how he almost takes the ball from the center backs, and then from here he's able to find Luis Diaz, and Luis Diaz is able to put Mojica to run into the space, no? And this is one of the things that they do very well, is the trying to find the wingbacks attacking the space in behind, because both Mojica and Daniel Muñoz, they have great athleticism for this kind of actions, no? So yeah, something that we might see also in this Colombia team is this kind of overloads, for example, in the right side with James, with Luis Diaz also moving there, with John Arias and Daniel Muñoz. But yeah, they have, I would say, with Richard Rios and with Lerma, they have enough physicality and athleticism for the rest defense. So that's why in some situations they can do this 2+2. But yeah, we might see this with James, as we say, with certain freedom to roam. And then something interesting also of the way they play is the connection between James and Luis Diaz. Obviously, James is left-footed, playing in the right, so every time he cuts inside, he can look for this pass. And to Luis Diaz, who is a player who obviously has the energy to run in behind, and I think this connection will be very important for Colombia, not only in more positional attacks, but also in transitions, no? And here in the image we can see Luis Diaz, but this is a ball from James for Luis Diaz running in a transition, no? And yeah, as I mentioned, the importance, no, of the fullbacks, no? Daniel Muñoz in this image, we can see that the players on the left side, for example, Luis Suarez or Luis Diaz, or even Lerma or Richard Rios, if they receive, they are able to switch play to Daniel Muñoz to find him in the opposite side. The same for Mojica, which can also be an option, that when James Rodriguez takes the ball, Luis Diaz makes a run, and also Mojica makes a run, no? And yeah, this is something that Colombia will do a lot. And now we are going to see a couple of clips about how they can use the fullbacks attacking in behind. We can see here a great ball from Davinson Sanchez finding John Arias inside. John Arias laying off, and look at Daniel Munoz in the right side attacking the space in behind. This is against France. And he has obviously the speed to arrive into these areas. We are going to see again, like quite fast. Yeah, we can see here, lay off, and then Daniel Munoz can progress from there. We are going to see another example, but then in the other side with Mojica. Mojica finding inside Luis Suarez and making just a 1-2, a basic 1-2, but they are so fast. Look how much distance he can take to the winger, no? And then this is a very clear chance. Good save from the France defender. But take a look again at this 1-2 from Mojica. We can see here now the 4-2, I would say the 4-2-4 narrow. We can see here the front four, how they are quite narrow. The wingers, for example, they are not wide, so they leave this space for the fullbacks. We can see here. And the ball to Mojica. So yeah, I think that's what I was mentioning, that I see them also playing in this wing back position because they have the athleticism to move up and down during the game and to put good crosses, natural footed wing backs. But yeah, also coming like from a back four, they can also be very, very dangerous and I think Colombia needs to do well to be protected, because if they want to attack with their fullbacks a lot, they also need to think in the defensive transition. But yeah, both Mojica and Daniel Munoz can do that. So they are not fullbacks that maybe you can have them in the first line, as a more to build. They are players that they need to arrive late from behind and to attack. So yeah, we might see them playing this kind of 1-2s inside and then running, and Colombia creating space for them to do this kind of combinations. And then here in the as I already mentioned, we can see the 4+2 in the build-up in restarts, but then we can see the front four of Colombia quite narrow, all four players with Luis Diaz, James Rodriguez, Luis Suarez, and John Arias, which I think will be the fourth starting player for Colombia. And here we can see also the transition, how dangerous they will be, and if they are well protected with the back four plus the two midfielders, these kind of transitions they will go with, especially with John Arias, with Luis Suarez, and with Luis Diaz attacking in behind, and then James Rodriguez will be that player that will try to receive the ball to feet and put them to run into the space. Let's talk now about Colombia defensively. I think it will be a quite clear 4-4-2 mid block. We can see it here in this image again, the game against France. We can see it here also in a bit more higher zone. They will advance, try to push the block higher, but they will still be like in this kind of 4-4-2 without being very, very aggressive on the press. And yeah, they have the typical problems of the 4-4-2 systems. We are going to see this. I think first in the deeper block, it's important the role of Richard Rios, usually following the runs into the half space. But that the problem is that no one tends to cover him, like the space he lives in this kind of situations. So yeah, we can see where the referee is. Mainly, this space is always quite empty for Colombia, even though Richard Rios has the energy to run up and back and cover a lot of ground. Obviously, this can become a problem against better sides. And yeah, we can see also that when the center back is the one following the run, then Richard Rios stays between center backs, and balance the defensive line, But then we can see again the space where the referee is, and that's the space that the teams will look to exploit. And we can see it, for example, in this image. against France, no? That the two strikers, I think, for example, a good example is Arsenal, no? And how they defend in the 4-4-2 deep block, because the two strikers, they do a great job by closing inside, no? And then they allow the defensive midfielders to, if they need to protect the back line at times, so the two strikers can cover, no, this space where the referee is right now, but they are not doing it at all. So we can see how easy France, in this situation, they are able to find, I think, Ryan Cherky there, where the referee is, no? And this space will be like a vulnerability that Colombia will have. We're going to see more examples of this. This is, for example, a situation where France, they are able to find Cherky, then I think it's Lerma needs to jump, and then they will find the number 6 of France, because the Luis Suarez in this situation is not following the player, no, and yeah, he's not protecting this space, space in front of the midfielders. Especially, we're going to see now a clip of this. First, we're going to see another image. Yeah, again, another example where the left fullback of France is able to find the space between the midfielders and the strikers, no? In this situation, I would say ideally in a 4-4-2 block, James Rodriguez will be like 2 meters below, trying to cut this passing line to one of the midfielders, no? That will be the idea if you want to be better protected, because in this case, the midfielders need to do like an incredible job sometimes to protect the back line, and sometimes to step out of position, and yeah, this is one of the keys for me in the 4-4-2, but we will see now a clip where Colombia has this problem. We can see here, first, Richard Rios needs to step far. They can do this, obviously, they do it great. But yeah, we can see now in the 4-4-2 how France, they are able to find inside. We can see first how, and the movement of Kanté is very important, because he drags like Lerma a bit out of position, but then France, they are able to play. They just 1 second late, but these players have quality, obviously, and they find the half space, and then they are able to attack you. So we will see the same clip again. You can see here the space in the middle between the midfielders and the strikers, and then how they are able to find the half space, no? So yeah, if the strikers cannot help the midfielders in these kind of situations, then the midfielders need to cover 2 players, they need to cover too much ground, and sometimes they can be late, like in this situation, no? So yeah, I would say these are mainly the ideas of France. I don't know if I have any other image here. No, this is the same we saw already. So yeah, this is mainly the defensive intentions, the 4-4-2 mid block. I think they will have problems in front of the midfielders, but the reality is that they have 2 midfielders that they can cover a lot of ground. They have also fullbacks that they are good at defending this 1v1 wide, because they are very fast. Maybe they are not the best at defending the box, and they are not that physical, I would say. They are more athletic than physical. But yeah, also I think that Colombia in offensive transition, they will be, I'm not sure if as dangerous as teams like France or Brazil, but almost at the same level. And yeah, expect a lot from this Colombia side, that they will be in the group with teams like Portugal. And I think they will, against Portugal, we might see a bit more reactive Colombia, more looking for transitions, but against Congo and against Uzbekistan, I'm quite sure they will have to dominate. And then players like James Rodriguez can be very important to help the team in possession.